Welcome to the 40th All-State Individual Festival. You are going to see the best in Iowa. Our lineup now entering. Paige Kaiser from Dubuque Senior is our banner carrier. Our double and non-performing All-Staters. If you have never been to this festival before, prepare yourself. You are going to see amazing performances. All of these students have qualified, and in a couple of minutes, we'll do something that's my favorite part of opening assembly. Would you all stand and honor America as Hope Schmeling from Clear Creek High School will sing the national anthem.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We are very lucky to be on the campus of UNI. I know many of my All-Staters, after they were at All-State, decided to come here. So look around, even though there's a little snow out, look around the campus. Here for a welcome is the president of UNI, Dr. Mark Nook.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to welcome you to the University of Northern Iowa. It's great to have all of you on our campus. It is a little bit snowy today, but it is a beautiful campus. I've only been here a little over a year now. I started February of last year. I couldn't be more proud of this campus for hosting events like this. To our students, welcome and congratulations on getting here, on stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something that helps you grow, taking the risks to join speech, to get involved, to learn to be better, to grow, to develop skills that otherwise you might not have, and it'll make a tremendous difference in your lives going forward. Parents, thank you for encouraging them to step into these challenging opportunities that you know will make such a difference in their lives. You have a very important role in them getting here today through your encouragement, through the way that you've raised them. So thank you for pushing them, for helping them, for urging them get involved in such an important activity to help them grow that's important to their future. To our judges today and all the people that have helped make this event happen, thank you. You've had a tremendous impact on these young people's lives, on the lives of their parents, through taking the time, dedicating your lives to making a difference in young people's lives so that they can grow and have an impact on society as well. So thank you very much. Finally, to the staff and faculty that took their time to teach, to encourage, to help these students. You know, the purpose of higher education, the reason that UNI exists and all the other universities, is to positively impact society through the lives of our students, our alumni, and our faculty and staff. Faculty out at the high schools today that have encouraged these students, today you've demonstrated that in the greatest possible ways. You're impacting society tomorrow by helping these students that are competing today, that have helped them step out of their comfort zones into this competition to develop speaking skills, to develop confidence, to develop teamwork. So thank you for having an impact, not just on the lives of these students, but on the lives of the students at your schools and on the lives of the people of the state of Iowa. So thank you very, very much. It's an honor. Thank you. Yes. So for us at the University of Northern Iowa, it's not only a pleasure to have you on our campus, it is a tremendous honor to welcome you, the students, the parents, the people who put this together, and especially you, the parents, and the teachers and staff that made this happen. Thank you. Have a great day. Students, learn a lot from this. Enjoy it. Have fun. But thank you for coming to the University of Northern Iowa for this competition, and congratulations to all.
This is my favorite part of the opening assembly. I'm not a quantitative person, yuck, but I like qualitative. But this is one time that data's okay. All right, would all the first-time qualifiers please stand? First-time qualifiers. Okay, go ahead and sit down. Now here's when the quantitative stuff starts. We're going to take it down. Would all second-year qualifiers please stand? Go ahead and sit. It's interesting to watch. Would all third-year qualifiers please stand? Go ahead and sit. And now, for the crown jewel, would all four-time qualifiers please stand? awesome, and congratulations on that. That is an amazing, amazing honor. Now, as Dr. Nook said, would all the coaches of all staters stand up and receive your glory? Thank you.
It is my honor and pleasure to announce the names of all of our double outstanding performers and our outstanding non-performers. From AHSTW, Evan Pattee, acting and prose. Please hold your applause until the end. Sorry. Atlantic, Rebecca Hallman, acting and poetry. Bondurant Farrar, Nick Current, acting and improv. Cedar Rapids Prairie, Kelby Yoder, Sozolu Musical Theater, poetry. Cedar Rapids, Washington, Walker Oaks, spontaneous, improv. Cedar Rapids Xavier, Jaden Henley, acting, review. Central DeWitt, Rachel Green, spontaneous, original oratory. Crestwood, Ryland Thompson, storytelling, poetry. Danville, Peyton Carr, storytelling, original oratory. Danville, Emma Snavely, literary program, solo musical theater. Dubuque Senior, Brady Booth, storytelling, acting. Dubuque Senior, Addie Canganelli, spontaneous, original oratory. Dubuque Senior, Amy English, storytelling, poetry. Dubuque Senior, Mike Grant, solo musical theater, improv. Dubuque Senior, Paige Kaiser, public address, solo musical theater. Dubuque Senior, Abigail Marcus, acting, poetry. Dubuque Senior, Christian Nisus, radio news. Dubuque Senior 9, Morgan McLean, poetry. Dubuque Senior 9, Harrison Tompkins, radio news. Fort Dodge 9, Josh Meyer, literary program, poetry. Humboldt, Meg Grice, literary program, storytelling. Humboldt, Emily Schaefer, public address, storytelling. Independence, Josie Fischels, acting, improv. Independence, Caleb Kramer, poetry. Interstate 35, Alyssa Reed, acting, prose. Lake Mills, Anna Raymaker, literary program, storytelling. Lewis Central, Aiden Cozart, expository, improv. Lewis Central, Nolan King, after dinner speaking, prose. Lynn Marr, Cheyenne Mann, storytelling, poetry. Lynn Marr, Allie Mersch, literary program, acting.
Madrid, Madeline Ostendorf, literary program, radio. Maquoketa Valley, Megan Beeman, solo musical theater. Maquoketa Valley, Hannah Lahr, expository address, reviewing. Maquoketa Valley, Alex McCusker, storytelling, improv. Mount Ayr, Abby Schaefer, public address, acting. North Fayette Valley, Bethany Merkel, solo musical theater and acting. Pella Community, Ethan Vance, literary program, improv. Pleasant Valley, Maz Ahmed, acting and improv. Pleasantville, Jack Ray, solo musical theater and acting. Red Oak, Brianna Clemens, acting, poetry. Sheldon, Madeline Goody, public address, solo musical theater. Red Oak is Brianna Clemens, acting and poetry. Sheldon is Madeline Goody, public address and solo musical theater. Sioux City East, Anthony Anderson, storytelling, poetry. Sioux City East, Denise Camarena, Literary Program, Poetry. Sioux City East, Nathan Kittrell, Solo Musical Theater and Acting. Sioux City East, Brittany Todd, Storytelling and Acting. Sioux City East, Olivia Tidwell, Spontaneous and Expository. South O'Brien, Dawson Weathers, Radio News, Prose. Spencer, Austin Carew, After Dinner, Solo Musical Theater. Storm Lake, Junior Zambrana, Solo Musical Theater, Poetry. Tri-Center, Carolyn Sondag, Literary Program, Improv. Waterloo West, Meg Durbin, Prose. Waterloo West, Emmy Hewitt, Solo Musical and Acting. Waterloo West, Haley Volantine, Poetry. Waukee, Kyler Johnson, Expository, Original Oratory. Waukee, Rebecca Lineman, Literary Program, Original Oratory. Waukee, Catherine Shoemaker, Poetry. Waukee, Swetha Tunagunta, Public Address. Woodward Granger, Aaron Kemp, Acting, Poetry.
It is my pleasure to begin introducing our critics for the day. Our first critic is Jackie, in Center 1, is Jackie Schmeling. Growing up in northwestern Iowa, Jackie credits her drama teacher, Mrs. Hayes, in helping a quiet, shy girl for her voice, love, and appreciation for the arts. Jackie made All-State in solo mime her freshman year and felt like she had just won the jackpot. This year, she decided she could inspire and encourage students just like her drama teacher did for her. Jackie started coaching mime for a Central Iowa high school. Jackie has been on television for the past 12 years, currently hosting the CW of Iowa Live on KCWI 23 HD. She believes as a society that does most of our communicating through electronic devices, that there is nothing more refreshing than seeing students use their minds, bodies, and voices to communicate incredible stories to an audience. Along with the coaches from Kemper Catholic as room chairs, please help me welcome Jackie Schmeling. Our guest critic in Center 2 is Sara Florian. Sara grew up in West Des Moines and participated in IHSSA contests in high school. Her most vivid moment from IHSSA was when the musical theater large group All-State critic praised her for her facial expressions after a performance, and everyone applauded just for her. After attending Drake University, she is now the Community Programs Coordinator for the Des Moines Performing Arts. Her greatest professional honor up to this point is being accepted into the Association of Performing Arts Professional 2018 Emerging Leadership Institute, but is so honored and grateful to serve as an All-State critic for the first time today. Please help me give a big IHSSA welcome to Sara Florian and her room chairs from the day, the Pella Community Coaches. Our critic in Center 3 is Stephen HiDean. Born in Pella, Iowa, Stephen HiDean grew up in Orange City, where he still travels to visit his parents. Stephen described himself as an introvert in high school, and although he was involved with sports, he credits theater and speech for slowly pulling him out of his shell. Two of his memories from theater and speech are, 1, playing Fagin in the musical Oliver, and 2, during large group speech, he was involved in an acting group that his future wife was also in. They started dating during that speech season. Stephen married his high school sweetheart 15 years ago, and they have 3 precious children, ages 13, 11, and 9. Stephen considers being able to teach improvisational acting to young and old a huge personal success. He was pumped to receive another invitation to serve as critic. He considers it a true honor and a gift. Please welcome critic Stephen HiDean and the room chairs, our coaches from Fort Dodge. Bob Fisher, news director of Alpha Media, is the critic in Center 4. Now an award-winning broadcaster, Fisher grew up in Mason City, Iowa, where he was a 3-time All-State musician. Among his accomplishments as a broadcaster is having one-on-one conversations with each of the last 4 presidents of the United States. He wants students to understand that they need to be able to effectively and professionally communicate if they want to be successful in life. Additionally, a person's greatest asset is a sense of humor because making someone laugh provides better connections. In his leisure time, Mr. Fisher enjoys reading nonfiction material and listening to and playing music. Please welcome the critic in Center 4, Bob Fisher, and the room chair, Jody Grant from Sheldon.
The critic in Center 5 is Tina Bakehouse. Miss Bakehouse grew up in Griswold, Iowa, where she was a 3-time All-State participant. One of her best memories is of when her coach hit a pheasant on the way to contest, and it stuck in the grill of the vehicle all day. In addition to having the dead pheasant support, the IHSSA provided her with the skills and tools that have helped her land some amazing jobs. Following high school, Miss Bakehouse earned a BA from UNI and her PhD from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. She now teaches communication studies at Creighton University and facilitates communication art camps in Southwest Iowa. In her spare time, she, her husband, and her son spend time hiking, biking, reading, and being active. Please welcome Tina Bakehouse and her room chair, Derek Frederick of Postville. The critic in Center 6 is Danielle McHugh, professor of the University of Northern Iowa. McHugh grew up in Pomeroy and Dayton, Iowa, and she graduated from Southeast Webster High School. She remembers performing poetry at All-State on the UNI campus for the first time, and that was when she decided that UNI was a place she wanted to go to college. In fact, she met her husband in an argument and debate class right here at UNI. Now they both have offices around the corner from each other. McHugh believes that it's important for students to develop effective communication skills because right now our country desperately needs us to know how to communicate with one another and that we need to learn how to talk and listen across our divides. In her spare time, she enjoys going to the park with her 2 beautiful children, Harper and Ada, jumping in mud puddles, cooking, and reading young adult fiction. Please welcome Danielle McHugh and her room chair, the Maquoketa Valley coaches. Currently an assistant professor of education at Buena Vista University, our next critic, Mark Hopkins, got his start in speech in the small Iowa district of Lorenz Marathon. After eventually becoming a coach himself, he remembers counting students 3 times before leaving for contests in Council Bluffs. And then, 30 minutes into the bus ride home, he stood up and yelled, "Eric! Is Eric on the bus?" Nope, he had forgotten Eric. Mr. Hopkins turned the bus around and returned to Council Bluffs to pick up a patiently waiting Eric, who went on to participate in speech every year of high school. And Mr. Hopkins was eventually honored as the 2011 Iowa High School Speech Association's Administrator of the Year. He would like to tell students that if you have conquered the fear of public speaking, you can do anything. The sky's the limit for everyone here today. Mr. Hopkins and his wife, Deborah, have 2 grown sons, John and Chris. Please welcome the critic for Center 7, Mark Hopkins, and the room chair for Center 7, Amy Toy of Shenandoah. Center 8's guest critic is Melissa Beale from the University of Northern Iowa. Growing up in a small farming community in Northeast Iowa, she was involved in speech and drama at an early age that led her to know that teaching speech, debate, and theater was something she was destined to do. She believes that open-mindedness is a person's greatest asset. Some of hers may come from her love of traveling. She plans to travel to Antarctica, which is the last continent she needs to visit, and Alaska, which is the last of the 50 states she needs to visit. While she has visited over 50 countries, she's excited about what else is out there. Marilyn believes the sky's the limit for people with effective communications and what they can do to influence others. Communication is the most important skill that we can have. Please welcome Marilyn Beale and the room chair for the day, Amanda Thomas from AGWSR. In Center 9, we have Dino Pape, who teaches at my alma mater, Simpson College, and works part-time for the National Speech and Debate Association. This summer, he will serve as the director of the Public Speaking and Argumentation Division of the Harvard Debate Council Summer Workshops. The entire month of July, if you need him, he'll be living in Cambridge. On Facebook for National Speech and Debate Education Day, Dino shared that he was named Speaker of the Day in his 9th grade English class, and he still has the postcard that his teacher, Vicki Rowland, sent home. The last line, "I think we can expect great things from Dino in speech." Dino believes students need to use their voices. Politicians should not neglect student voices just because they are not of voting age yet. Everyone has a story to tell, and this activity reminds us every day that their voices matter too. He enjoys the All-State Festival because the performances are authentic. They aren't artificial or formulaic. Performers are here speaking from the heart. Please welcome Dino Pape and the room chair, Lacey Wolter from Cascade.
The critic in Center 10 is Mr. Mike Pites. Although Mr. Pites never participated in IHSSA activities while growing up in Ottumwa, he was an enthusiastic theater and choir student. He worked with his theater teacher, Elaine Smart, on shows like Meet Me in St. Louis. She was the reason he became a teacher. Sadly, he was never able to tell her that. Following high school, Mr. Pites earned his BA and master's degrees from the University of Northern Iowa, an education that obviously served him well. Mr. Pites taught at various Iowa high schools for 25 years until accepting the position of Executive Director of the Educational Theater Association and the International Thespian Society. He believes that communication skills create one's first impression. Now retired, he and his wife Linda enjoyed traveling, reading, and boating at Lake Delhi. It is easy to think the contests are about ratings or winnings, he says. But the real value lies in the personal skills and confidence which students develop. The rating or win will become a piece of paper in a storage box, but the skills will go with the participants wherever they go for the rest of their lives. Serving as Mr. Pites' chairperson today are the coaches from Dubuque Senior. Please welcome critic Mike Pites. Our guest critic in Center 11 is no stranger to the IHSSA. Liz Hanson grew up in southwest Iowa, where she remembers performing in the very first all-state large group festival after traveling in a blizzard to get there. She later went on to be a speech and English teacher at Grinnell High School, where she also was the speech coach and drama director. Her whole family has been involved in the IHSSA, from her husband who drove the bus to her kids who spent all day with her team attending all of the events. She served as the IHSSA coach at large for 12 years and believes that being inducted into the IHSSA Hall of Fame was her greatest professional moment. Ms. Hanson believes that we are so fortunate to live in a state that embraces speech on an equal level with all other opportunities for students. IHSSA students continue to amaze her with their talents, creativity, and work ethic. Please give first-time critic Liz Hanson a warm welcome. Her room chairs for the day are coaches from Denison Schleswig. Our next All-State critic is Hall of Fame coach Brad Nesbitt, who has made a lifelong commitment to speech. After graduating from Pocahontas, Mr. Nesbitt went on to earn his bachelor's degree from Westmar College. He taught at Alta High School for 35 years, and after an unsuccessful attempt at retirement, he now teaches at Earlham. In all those years, the most memorable person he ever met was his mother, because she sacrificed everything so her children could succeed. He wants to remind students that a person's greatest asset is integrity, which he defines as having strong core values and conducting your life with those principles. Mr. Nesbitt and his wife Barb have 2 sons who are both married and 3 grandchildren. In his leisure time, he enjoys watching his grandkids and sleeping. Please welcome critic Brad Nesbitt and his room chair, Melissa Fielmeyer-Marzen from Cedar Rapids, Kennedy. Megan Enan is a professional singer and works on the music staff at Graceland University as an adjunct professor. She earned her BA in music at Augustana University and her Master's of Music at Johns Hopkins University Peabody Institute. Megan believes the work being done by students and coaches in connection to the IHSSA is unparalleled across the country. She says, if you want to develop influence and become a leader in your school community or on a much larger scale, the first skill you must develop is fine verbal and nonverbal communication. Words take action through communication. Megan believes a person's greatest asset is self-awareness. Self-awareness allows you to be in alignment with your personal goals and ambitions. It also develops intuitive decision-making skills. She says, there's a reason that know thyself has been a maxim in use since the ancient Greeks. The room chair for Megan is Jacqueline Madison of Waterloo West. Please welcome critic Megan Enan. Our critic in Center 14 is Ryan McHugh. Ryan grew up in the Waterloo Cedar Falls area and returned to teach at UNI in the Communication Studies Department, where he serves as the director of the Oral Communications course. Ryan earned his PhD in communication at Louisiana State University. He enjoys traveling, LSU football, and being walked by his children, ages 2 and 2 months, and their dog. They make every day an adventure. As director of the oral communication course at UNI, he often has the chance to teach students who participated in Iowa high school speech. He is always impressed with how well prepared they are for presenting in college and how they often take leadership roles within the class. Ryan believes no skill is more essential for your success in your college, your career, and your community than effective communication. The room chair for Ryan is Kathy Peterson of Perry. Ryan was honored to be invited to serve as a first-time critic. Please welcome Ryan McHugh.
Good morning! It is a great day in Iowa for speech today. You all could be in school. If you can't enjoy that, well, I'm sorry. You know, a couple things I need to say before we introduce some other individuals. And first of all, if you've noticed the cameras around, MediaCom has been a wonderful partner of the Iowa High School Speech Association. From the state debate tournament, to the large group all-state festival, to the IE all-state festival. MediaCom supports the IHSSA with programming across the state of Iowa in the MediaCom markets. Please look on our website for show times, but the neat thing is, if you're on the camera today, you're on MediaCom for life. Because you can get it on demand also. So thank you. Let's give a round of applause to MediaCom. If you've noticed, one of our individuals that is so helpful to this festival, Marilyn Shaw, is not with us right now. Marilyn Shaw is recovering, and she says her best wishes to you all. Keep Marilyn in your thoughts and prayers, but the outlook for Marilyn is wonderful, and she says, I am watching the IHSSA through my mind today. So thank you for Marilyn for all the work. She was on the phone with me all week, so she's still here with us today. Also, a couple housekeeping ideas, and we'll go through some more things later on, is that t-shirt sales are in Lang Hall in the basement, and then also the pictures for your people are in the second floor of Lang Hall. It's my honor now to introduce the individuals who make the Speech Association what it is today, and that is our executive committee. I would ask these individuals to stand, and please hold your applause until all have been announced. Mr. Adi Pomfase, Director of Des Moines Central Campus, Superintendent Mike Kaleska Decora, Superintendent Gary Zittergren, Benton Community Van Horn, Superintendent Russ Adams, MOC Floyd Valley, Ms. Stacy Hanson, Coach at Large, West Des Moines Valley, and Ms. Karen Brown, Executive Vice President. This is the Executive Committee. And I know I just said a whole bunch of names, and a lot of you maybe just heard blah, 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 blah. But these are the people that care so much about what you're doing. They spent yesterday afternoon in a board meeting trying and working to make our association even better with rules and philosophy of what we're really about. So we do thank them. Also, this next committee is the committee that you here today should be very wonderfully accepting and inviting and positive about, and that is the All-State Committee. They meet with the judges at the state contest at 7 a.m. in the morning. They collect their ballots for All-State at 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Then they come to Des Moines and work to the wee hours in the morning on the All-State. And then they come back in on Sunday and work all day Sunday, double checking, triple checking. And then they come back Monday and work some more so that you can try to get online at 4:15 and find out who made the All-State Festival. This is an incredible group of individuals. Would you again please hold your applause until I introduce them all. Megan Young, Clear Lake, Jackie Sadell, ADM, Jennifer Huling, Northeast Community, Kim Keller, Manson Northwest Webster, and David Wendt, Keokuk, the IHSSA All-State Committee. President of UNI spoke about this, but we are deeply indebted to the University of Northern Iowa. You notice you're not wearing a wristband today, and you're not having to pay to get into rooms. And that's because the University of Northern Iowa supports this entire festival. It's an incredible gift and donation from that university. So if you have an opportunity today and you see a Northern Iowa person, please tell them thank you. Because for 40 years, we have been on this campus, and they have given this gift to us freely for 40 years. It's an amazing thing that they have done. We want to thank them. Every year, the Iowa High School Speech Association is allowed to submit one name of a coach from our state for the National Federation Speech and Debate Director and Coach of the Year Award. This application then is sent to the National Federation of High School Activities and a jury. Certain individuals are picked for state awards, and then a very select group is picked for a sectional award, 8. The state award is not a given. However, in Iowa, every year since we've applied, we've had at least a state winner. And this year, we're fortunate enough because our recipient this year is not only a state winner, but is a sectional winner and will be placed in the hat for National Coach of the Year next year. with 8 other coaches from across the nation. This individual has made such a difference in his community, but not only in that community, but statewide. Bill has been on the IE All-State Committee. He's been a district officer. He never misses a district meeting. He has held multiple contests at his school. But not only that, he has reached out to the educational theater community and the thespian community, and being a state director there. And not only a state director, but he was the national president for the Educational Theater Association at one time for a year. Bill Myatt has made such a difference for the Pleasant Valley community, but he's made a difference for you. All of you in this room, he has been there for. But the one point I like to point out, and this shows the unselfishness of this man, and that is, a number of years ago, Bill was just doing the large group theater work and the large group in the IHSSA work. They did not have an IE coach in their community at that time. They had some students that came up to him and said, you know what, we would like to do IEs this year. And Bill said, you bet, let's do it. And he took them to the contests, they went to state, and they went to all-state. And here's the great thing about that. Bill was not paid one dime for all that extra work that year. He did it free will because it was the right thing to do. Now he'll tell you he's paid now because it's worth payment, but he made sure students were given the right to go to a festival. And that is why this individual is so deserving of the state and sectional award for the National Federation of High School Activities, Director of Iowa and the section we're involved with. Presenting his plaque will be Mr. Gary Zittergren, Superintendent of Schools from Benton Community. Our sectional winner is Mr. Bill Myatt from Pleasant Valley High School.
First, I'd like to thank the Academy, the Oscar voters, my agent. Wrong speech. I'd like to thank the National Federation of High School Activities for valuing the work we do in speech, theater, and debate. I'd like to thank Mr. Craig Enan, the Iowa High School Speech Association, for nominating me for this award. I'd like to thank my sons who could not be here today, my wife and daughter, who are. But most importantly, you, the speech students of Iowa. Whether you are one of the Bellevue speech children from my alma mater, Maquoketa High School, or my own students from Pleasant Valley, without all of you, this award would not exist, and this would be a very boring gathering in the Unidome. I'd like to take a moment to talk to you about students, speech teachers, and the magnificence that happens when we come together. It doesn't take knowing me long to know that I am a Star Trek fan. On Star Trek, in one episode entitled, Is There in Truth No Beauty?, Mr. Spock, that's the guy with the ears, who happens to have been portrayed by Leonard Nimoy, whose birthday it is today, wears a medallion called an IDIC. IDIC stands for Infinite Diversity in Infinite Combinations. It is comprised of a smooth, flat gold circle, a rougher three-dimensional silver triangle that points toward the center of the circle where a magnificent jewel is created. It's a thing of beauty in the center that neither individually could create on their own. Speech, theater, debate teachers to me are represented by that circle. We seek to encompass a body of knowledge, pretty by itself, but not spectacular alone. Students are the three-dimensional triangle, a driving force that points to the center. Wonderful alone, but a triangle has multiple points, multiple directions it could go. However, when teachers and students come together, miracles occur. For example, look at the students who are the driving force behind the Never Again movement from Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. Agreeing with them or not, they have created change. And Emma Gonzalez, one of those leaders, is a speech theater debate student. The drive of these students and students like them across the nation and the state of Iowa, coupled with the education teachers like the ones here in the Unidome today have provided, create change neither could accomplish on their own. I tell my students on the first day of public speaking class that speech is the most important class they will ever take. The power of public speaking, combined with knowledgeable, passionate instructors and young, scrappy, and hungry adults like you, will create a dazzling future. I am proud to be a member of this profession, and I'm beyond honored to work with you students as we move to create a miraculous future. Thank you.
I think you can tell why he is a sectional winner with that award, too. At this time, it's our honor, Mr. Mike Haleska from Decorah High School will now present the Sweepstakes Award. The Sweepstakes Award goes to the school with the most outstandings that are in this festival, and the most outstandings this year come from Dubuque Senior with 20 students named as outstanding speakers. Dubuque Senior coaches, please come forward. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have a wonderful day today. Enjoy the outstanding speakers. It is truly an outstanding day. Congratulations.
Because of her life-changing disfigurement from a savage dog attack, Dogface lets no one in except for her best friend, Jamie. And now she's afraid that's changed too. Dogface by Kelly Powell. I don't want to go all Hallmark card on you, but you're my best friend. We've been through so much together. You're the only person who sees me. You're the first person to understand me, to get me, to think the way I do. Am I crazy? Am I wrong? Because you're important to me. So if you're just not attracted to me, I can understand that, because I know the heart wants what the heart wants, and we can't really pick and choose who we want, because if we could choose, then I could stop wanting you. So if you just don't like me that way, but you do, don't you? I mean, I must not be too repulsive. You're the one that kissed me. Did I do something wrong? Was I not good? Was I supposed to play coy and hard to get? I don't know. No one explained those rules to me. The only thing I know how to do is be honest. And that's one of the things you said you loved about me. Are you ashamed? That's it, isn't it? That's the reason you're pretending like it didn't happen. You're ashamed. Hey, I'd be ashamed too. I'm Dogface. You can have sex with Dogface behind closed doors, but you can't show her off to your friends. You can't bring her home to Mom. You said you're not ready. But is anyone really ready for their life to change? For something this life-altering? I mean, hello. It's the human condition. How do you expect to learn? Trial and error. We make these mistakes and we make ourselves look like idiots. But we learn. Who am I kidding? No one ever learns. You said you don't want to get serious? But how am I supposed to act casual about something this intense, this real and rare? I mean, look at me. Look at me. How many times do you think I'm going to get this chance? I think I could love you. And I think you could love me too. I think I get now why they call it losing your virginity. I always thought it was this sacred thing you're supposed to protect with your life. When really the fact that I had it, it was just this neon sign hanging above my head, screaming at me, "Ugly loser!" I was trying to lose it. But now, I do feel like I've lost something. And not my innocence or my purity or any of that. But I've lost the walls that I built to protect myself from feeling this. I lost the ability to distance myself from the rest of the world. I let you in. And I gave you the power to hurt me. If I'm crazy, then I'm crazy. If I'm wrong, then okay, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, and you're just too stubborn to see the possibility of there being an us, then I don't know if I'd want to be with someone so stupid.
But I've always wondered what summer would be like when it does come. Me, a snowman. These will buzz. Oh, kids will blow dandelion fuzz. And I'll be doing whatever snow does in summer. Oh, a drink in my hand. My snow up against the burning sand. Probably getting gorgeously tanned in summer. I'll finally see a summer breeze blow away a winter storm and find out what happens to solid water when it gets warm. And I can't wait to see what my buddies will think of me. Just imagine how much cooler I'll be in summer. Ba-do, oh, wa-ba-ba-ba-ba-boo. The hot and the cold are both so intense. Put them together, it just makes sense. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-ba-da-da-da-da-da-doom. Winter's a good time to stay in and cuddle, but put me in summer and I'll be a happy snowman. When life gets rough, I like to hold on to my dreams of relaxing in the summer sun, just letting off steam. Oh, the sky will be blue, and you guys will be there too, when I finally do what frozen things do in summer. In summer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just finishing my lunch. My name's Wolf, Big Bad Wolf. You may have heard of the story of Little Red Riding Hood, about a girl and her granny. Seems everyone has. But my tale is different. Listen closely as his story finally gets told, and honestly, Red Riding Hood was rotten, by Trisha Shashkin. Once upon a time, I ran out of food. Completely. Now the cupboards were bare. Now other wolves might have munched on little forest critters, chipmunks, bunnies, squirrels, but I'm a vegetarian. That's right, I don't eat meat. Okay, well I try not to. In fact, I love fruit, especially apples. Honeycrisp, Pink Lady, Golden Delicious, oh gosh, practically every kind really. But sadly, it was a long time until apple harvest. I hadn't eaten in weeks. My stomach growled and howled and moaned and groaned. And then my nose took over. I took a whiff. What was it? A girl? Cake? Butter? In this forest? No, I had to investigate. So I scurried through the forest to find the source of the smell. And there she was, Little Red Riding Hood. She looked as plump and juicy as a big sweet apple. Little Red waved her cape. Isn't it pretty? Yeah. Aren't I pretty? With this cape, I'm even prettier than usual. My stomach moaned. Little Red twirled a strand of her hair. Mother says this cape looks grand with my skin. My skin shines like pearls. Or the meat of a ripe apple, I thought. Okay, remember, I hadn't eaten in weeks. But then Little Red said, I can't wait until Granny sees how pretty I am today. I'm bringing her cake and butter from Mother. My stomach howled. 2 meals, I thought. Granny for lunch, Little Red for dinner, and cake and butter for dessert. Where does Granny live? Down there, the brown house. I knew that house. I had a plan. Let's play a game. I'm great at games. Let's see. Oh, you take this path and I'll take that path, and let's see who arrives at Granny's first. I will. I'm the prettiest and the fastest. My stomach moaned, but before it groaned, I ran. No one knows the forest like I do. I chose the shorter path. I knocked on the door. Who is it? Your granddaughter. I brought you cake and butter from Mother. Door's open. I walked in as Granny was admiring herself in the mirror. Green, she said. Isn't it pretty? Pretty like Granny Smith apple, I thought. Aren't I pretty? Now you must have heard the saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Well, it's true. My stomach roared! What's that noise? Granny asked, turning around, and I didn't know what to do, so I I had to eat her. Now, she was no Macintosh apple, but not too bad. I still felt hungry, though. Little Red knocked at the door. Who is it? I squeaked, crawling into Granny's bed. Your granddaughter. I brought you cake and butter from Mother. Doors open. Little Red walked in and caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. Granny, she said, what deep, dark eyes I have. The color of apple seeds. Granny, she said, what perfectly shaped ears I have. Shaped like sharply cut apple slices. Granny, she said, what beautiful red lips I have. Red delicious. And I ate her up. Oh, what can I say? Things look a lot different when you're hungry, and she was no Fuji or Crispin apple. In fact, to be honest, she was a bit rotten. But she was better than nothing. Plus, I got dessert.
All right, class. You will have exactly 5 minutes to complete our final exam. And if you fail to say the right words like namaste or in the right tone, you will be dismissed.
Yeah, I didn't even want to take this class. My wife said I needed to learn more tranquility. So I'm just here to pass or fail.
Excuse me, Mike, could you please quiet down? This is a place of peace. All right, for your first task class, I'm going to ask you to please perform this pose. And if you move, or I swear, you will please be dismissed.
Oh, I did not study last night. Gosh, Sherry's gonna kill me. You know what? Hold on. I need to use the restroom. Hey, Siri. How do you do whatever she just did? I got it, ma'am. All right.
Excuse me, Mike? I heard that. I'm going to need you to do a new pressure test. Everyone else, you may go, you have passed. But Mike, front and center.
Oh, no. All right. But just let him know, I got a 3 o'clock garbage pickup to do. Hit me with it.
First, I would like you to please prepare and perform a routine for me. We practiced this last week, and it must include the cobra, the downward dog, and a move of your choice.
All right. I will begin. Woof, woof. Woof, woof, woof. And the move of my choice will be the garbage collector. I made this one up myself. This is me picking up the trash can lid and bang, bang.
Well, that was horrible. All right, next task is going to be speak to me in Yoganese.
Namaste, garbage. Look, okay, can you please just pass me? I'm dying here.
You know what, Mike? you're going to come with me. And by the way, I've already noted your wife, Sherry, that you have indeed failed this class, and you are honestly even smellier than when you came in here. So let's go. And actually, in fact, I'm going to take you somewhere that you will hate.
Wait a minute, hold on. What's going on? Are we going to one of those Zen gardens?
No, I've got a new kind of yoga for you. It's called hot yoga.
Uh-oh, what does that mean? Are we burning garbage?
No, the only thing that will be burning is you. Now let's go.
Cosmetology class by Jerry Rabushka. Okay, so my mom makes me go to this cosmetology seminar. I mean, me at a cosmetology seminar. That's like sending LeBron James to basketball camp. That's like sending Adele to voice lessons. Never mind. See, Mom just doesn't get it. She thinks I'm a cosmetological ignoramus. She thinks I'm cosmetologically challenged. And she goes, and I won't have my daughter going to prom looking like Catwoman. And I'm like, Mom, Michelle Pfeiffer was Catwoman. If I can look like Michelle Pfeiffer, nope, it's Catwoman. Michelle Pfeiffer would never go out of the house looking like that. Well, meow, 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 meow. $250 later, a month's worth of lip gloss, just so I could get my mom off my makeup case. So let me set the scene. First of all, it was full of old women. You know, 25, 26. I mean, we're talking old. Like, sure, if you want to put Revlon on a corpse, be my guest. So first, there was Victoria. And she goes, like, for me, this is a journey in self-discovery, and I'd like to learn how to accentuate my eyelashes, de-emphasize my nose, and maintain the beauty I was born with. Easy, Victoria. It's called a paper bag, or in your case, two. So then she pulls out this little makeup kit from her purse to show the instructor, and she goes, like, what can I do to enhance the effectiveness of my makeup portfolio? Try burning it, Victoria. Makeup portfolio, it was a plastic bag full of lipstick and half-open bottles of rouge leaking all over the inside of it. I mean, it looked like a lung. And she looked like something someone had dissected in last week's biology lab. So I'm like, Victoria, do not put any of that on your face. In fact, what I think you should do is put your face in that plastic bag, put the bag in the purse, and latch it up. And Victoria, if there's a key, throw it away, and don't keep a spare under the mat. So she didn't talk to me for the rest of the seminar. Like, that hurt. Oh, then there was our instructor. Miss Donna Prima Donna Estee Lauder, bought it on sale at 7-Eleven, Elvira M. Jones. Okay, so like, I made most of that up. But like, I don't know what the M stood for. Probably like mega ignorant or something. And like, she didn't like to answer me when I called her that, but I gave her no choice. So I'm like, Miss Donna Prima Donna Estee Lauder, bought it on sale at 7-Eleven, Elvira M. Jones. She goes, class, we're all here to learn. Even people like me who know it all can learn something from teaching people like you. Well, except for you, she tells me. And I'm like, know it all? Know it all, Miss Jones? If you knew half of what I knew, you would know better than to teach a cosmetology seminar wearing rouge roughly 2 shades darker than an undercooked Idaho potato. So I finally got Miss Jones off my back. And then she goes into this boring lecture about base and foundation. I mean, these women needed spackle. Then a very rotund woman in the back. Look, I hate to be mean, but she was fat, portly, obese, humongo, gigantula, you name it combined. I mean, not that I care. I'm not prejudiced or anything. There's just a lot of people I don't like on impulse. So anyway, faces turned red as Ms. Humongo stands up and she goes, I belong to a nudist colony. And I was wondering if there was a way of incorporating a natural-looking cosmetic application into the completely naked human form. And I just couldn't hold back any longer. I was like, no wonder you belong to a nudist colony. You probably couldn't find any clothes that fit ya. You know what Miss Jones did, do you? She makes my class project putting makeup on the nudist colony woman who spent the entire time trying to convince me to spend the weekend with her and her family at this disgusting beach about 18 miles south of Los Angeles. As if LA isn't polluted enough already. So I'm like, if this is what it's like, I'd rather join a leper colony. For me, naked is just not natural. So I spent 2 hours on her. 2 hours I could have spent looking at myself in the mirror. But no, I had to spend 2 hours making her look beautiful. I mean, could have been worse. I mean, Victoria, she needed a week. And Ms. Jones, she needed euthanasia. So yeah, I spent 2 hours, and yes, she did look beautiful. See, I made her look like Cleopatra. See, I wanted to say Cleopatra. But I'm learning to respect people who are different than myself, or as I like to call it, different from the norm. And you know what she says after being the exclusive beneficiary of my hard work and expertise, do you? This horrified look comes over her formerly horrible face, and she goes, oh my gosh, I look like Catwoman. And I'm like, girl, you shall be glad you look like Catwoman. Michelle Pfeiffer looked like Catwoman. If I can make you look like Michelle Pfeiffer, you should thank your lucky stars. You know, these women better feel beautiful. I mean, they look like cows out to pasture, like old goats at a children's zoo, like ears of corn straight from the production of Oklahoma, like wilted lettuce at the Walmart superstore. So I'm like, Ms. Jones, you are trying to squeeze blood out of a room full of turnips. And no matter if it comes out A, B, ABO, whether it's positive or negative, whether it has a higher H factor or high T cell count, a turnip is still a turnip. And no matter how much blood you squeeze, girl, the turnip is still bitter, ugly, and a very nauseating shade of purple. So when my mother asked me what I learned at this cosmetology seminar and why I had to spend the last 2 days in intensive care, I had to tell her the truth. I was like, you should never, ever, ever enter a room full of insecure old women at a cosmetology seminar and compare them to a room full of turnips, especially when you look like Michelle Pfeiffer.
All right, everyone, welcome to the wedding of my big brother Tyler. Yes, he's the big banker. I'm the loan collector. Everyone thinks he's so great and amazing. Here I am, everyone's disappointment. So, growing up, I just was told, always be like your big brother, Tyler. He's so great, he's so amazing, he counts all the money. And here I am, I collect loans for all of you great people out there in the crowd. Oh no, Grandma's already asleep, all right. I don't know what to say to make everyone more alive. Oh, baby, you gotta add just some jig to it, you know? All right, come on, just get the boogie into it. You got it now. Oh, great. All right, everyone, now you're hearing my mom, who's still stuck in the 70s. Back in the day, she was the greatest disco dancer of all time, but let's not pay attention to her. Let's pay attention to my brother. It's his special day, everyone. He gets the money. He has the job. He has the dream. And then there's me, the loan collector. Come on, baby, I didn't raise you that way now, did I? Come on, you gotta add some pump into it, otherwise everyone else is gonna be falling asleep like my mother over there. And you know what? She might not actually be asleep. Mom, can you please just go sit down? I'm so embarrassed right now, as if being a loan collector wasn't enough. Not with an attitude like that, baby boy. You know, if you just had some hip-hop and, you know, a little boogie here and there. You got it going on. You got it going on. Mom, if it's not gonna be me putting everyone to sleep, it's gonna be you wishing everyone wasn't here right now. But can we just focus on Tyler right now? It's his dream to get married, and oh great, Uncle Ol just fell asleep too. That's such a failure. You know, you may not be like your brother over there, and you are my biggest disappointment. But I'm telling you, you can give the speech of your lifetime if you just add a little boogie. I got more than one boogie coming out already, though. It's everywhere. Okay, you know what? I know your brother over here is a mighty fine banker, and I know you're the best loan collector that you can be. But you know what? Let's just make everyone in here alive. Let's wake up everyone that we can, and you just gotta put a little boogie into it. Come on, baby boy, you got it now. Okay, I don't know what kind of boogie a loan collector could do, but all right. Is this good, Mom? I can't do this anymore. Everyone just keeps falling asleep on me. You know, a bunch of people come to me asking for a loan here and there, and I always have to deny them because everyone has such bad credit nowadays. But maybe this is what I get for being such a great loan collector. Maybe this is what I get for denying all those people. Everyone just falls asleep on me like I fall asleep on them because, oh my God, you have to listen to all the stories. People come to me like, oh my God, I just want to buy a boat. Can you please loan me the $500,000 it costs? Are you kidding me? I've had it. I'm done giving this speech. You know, thank you everyone for coming. Sorry to put you all asleep. Sorry I was the worst loan collector you've ever met. Sorry I'm so boring. Okay, it's not my fault. It's not my fault that I can't live in my brother's image or that I'm not as cool as a banker at Edward Jones, you know. You know what, baby? I told you, the boogie industry is always alive.
Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard the wolf's point of view. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I shall be telling the true story of the Three Little Pigs by John Skiske. I'm Alexandra Wolf. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. Once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny, and I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I had just ran out of sugar. So I walked down the lane to my neighbor's house. Now, this guy was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. I mean, he built his house out of straw. I mean, can you believe it? Who in his right mind will build his house out of straw? I knocked on the door. No answer. So I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? Again, no answer. I was just about to go home. That's when my nose started to itch, and I started to huff and puff. And you know what? The whole darn house just fell down. And in the middle of that pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. It seemed like a shame, though, to leave a perfectly good ham dinner just laying there. So I ate it up. Think of it as just a big, juicy cheeseburger just laying there. I still don't have that cup of sugar, though. So I continued down the lane. Now, this guy was the first little pig's brother, and he was a little bit smarter, but not by much. He built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Again, no answer. So I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that pig yelled back? Get out of here, Wolf! Don't bother me again! I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. I was about to go home when I felt my cold coming on, and I started to huff and puff and achoo! And you're still not going to believe me, but this guy's house fell down too. And when the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know, food will spoil if you leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. I was getting awfully full, but I still didn't have a cup of sugar. So I went to the next house. Now, this guy was the first and second little pig's brother, and he must have been the brains of the family because he built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the door. No answer. So I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little poker answered? Get out of here, Wolf! Don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wanted to give me one little cut for my dear old granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was about to go home when I felt my cold coming on, and I started to huff and puff and achoo! And do you know what that pig answered? And your old granny can sit on a pin. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm lady, but when someone's gonna talk about my granny like that, I just go a little bit crazy. So of course when the cops drove up, I was trying to break down his door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and just making a real scene. The rest, they say, is history. The reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner, and they figured a sick lady going to borrow a cup full of sugar didn't sound really exciting. So they jazzed up the whole story, all that huff and puff, and I'll blow your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. But maybe you can lend me a cup of sugar.
Unhappy, unhappy, very, very, very unhappy. I spend my life accounting with figures and such. To what is my life amounting? It figures not much. I have a secret desire hiding deep in my soul. It sets my heart afire to see me in this role. I wanna be a producer with a hit show on Broadway. I wanna be a producer, lunch at Sardi's every day. I wanna be a producer, sport a top hat and a cane. I wanna be a producer and drive those chorus girls insane. Whew. I wanna be a producer and sleep until 2:30. I wanna be a producer and say you, not you. I wanna be a producer wear a tux on opening night. I wanna be a producer and see my name, Leo, bloom in lights. I wanna be the greatest, grandest, and most fabulous producer in the world. I gotta dine with a duchess and a duke. I just gotta be a producer, drink champagne until I puke. I wanna be a producer, show the world just what I got. I'm gonna put on shows that will enthrall 'em. Read my name in Wenchel's column. I wanna be a producer. 'Cause it's everything I'm not. Unhappy, so unhappy and very, 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 very sad. I wanna be a producer. Wait a minute, what am I doing? Wait a minute, hold everything, hold everything. Stop the music. Mr. Bialystok was right. There is a lot more to me than there is to me. Stop the world! I want to get on! I'm gonna be a producer, sound the horn and beat the drum. I'm gonna be a producer, look out Broadway, here I come! Yes!
Thank you. Starting over here with Destiny, thank you for your honesty today. Not an easy piece to just start the day off with, a very powerful one, so thank you for sharing that powerful piece with us. You have amazing eyes. I want to see them a little bit more. I know it's easy when you have a very internal piece to naturally want to kind of go down to the floor. Extend some of that out, even if it's internal and wanting to go in to show that pain. Still get it out because I want to see those eyes because they are amazing. But thank you for making it very clear of who you're talking to. And thank you to everyone for not letting this microphone throw you. That's not easy. You already have your nerves coming in today, and now we're like, we're going to mic you up and put a camera in your face. So thank you for not letting that throw anybody today, especially being the first one today. So thank you very much for that. I wanted to ask you about your scar, because you had a beautiful moment at the very beginning of the piece when you moved your hair out of your way, and I was like, oh, that's it, and that's her slight indication, but then you had the scar on the other side. So I didn't know. This is the good side. So that's the good side, so you were showing it off. Love it. Okay, make that, it was a little too subtle for me. Make that known that this is the side I really want to show you because I'm trying to hide this side, and maybe even indicate that more with your, because you had wonderful body movements, loved your tick of working with your hand, just maybe make that more evident if you pursue this further. But that was a beautiful moment. I knew you were telling me something. I just wasn't exactly clear on what that was. Also, because this is such a powerful piece and everything about it is just almost kind of down, think about different ways that you can attack lines, because there might be some humor in what she's saying. Like, when you're the one who kissed me, maybe that's almost a funny line as opposed to everything being down. There's different ways of communicating to someone as opposed to just one note over and over again. But it was a gorgeous piece. Thank you so much for sharing your gift with us today. Congratulations on making it to All-State. Jacob, right off the bat, you're like, I'm in your face and I'm going to perform for you. And I loved it. Thank you for your presence, your energy, and just fun today. That was so fun. And I love this because as soon as you hear that song, you're like, Frozen! I know what it is, and you know what's going to happen. So there's a lot that already goes into people's minds of being predictable and what they expect. and you destroyed all of that. Everything you did was exciting, and around every turn you were using your body, you were using your expressions, you were using your space, the chair, everything, and I didn't know what to expect. So thank you, from a piece that just opened on Broadway to something that we've seen 5 million times and know all the words to the songs. Thank you for keeping it unexpected and fun the entire time. The only thing I recommend, because of all the movements, make sure you're keeping that breast support really strong. I know the nerves are going like mad, and you were strong all the way through. It's your R's that can pull you down a little bit. Think of the very last note you sing with summer, because you go summer, it's right there. It was perfect. Keep that in mind for your R's throughout the entire piece. But amazing. Thank you for your physicality, your talent. And you're a tall man. You don't look like a snowman. You made us believe today. So thank you for making us believe that you're a snowman. Thank you. Wonderful job today. Paige. Okay, first of all, you're adorable.
Thank you.
Which makes it even more wonderful that the first thing that you do when you start this piece is making noises of a wolf eating. So thank you for that. Thank you for being this adorable performer who's willing to make those noises that wouldn't fit what we'd normally think of when we just see you. Amazing job at separating the characters. They were all individual, unique, and fun. Great use of those sounds throughout the entire piece, from what you were making with your mouth, which sometimes I'm like, how did you do that? That was awesome. To using your feet, to using your hand for the knocking. You really, when you're meant to just sit on a stool for storytelling, that's not easy to do. As a performer, we want to get out and we want to tell a story. So to have to stay in one place, you took us on that adventure. So congratulations for doing that today. My favorite has to be, though, the Wolf Granny voice. I don't know how that came out of you, but it was absolutely my favorite. It was very well thought out, perfectly executed, amazing. Thank you for coming to All-State today. Congratulations. Oh yeah, I should be like shaking your hand, sorry. And I apologize if you can't read my sheets. I have the worst handwriting in the world, so I apologize. First improv of the day, so much fun. I try to do yoga, I suck at it, but you made me believe that you knew what you were talking about. Have you ever done yoga before? Oh, yeah, a little bit. You were great use of just throwing out the terminology to make me believe, or as you said, yoganese. Yes, I buy it, I'll take it. Thank you, great. Wonderful body choices, great vocal choices of the characters. You had 2 separate characters, and I completely believed every single one of them. And did you realize you had the universal voice of calling to Siri? So many phones went off when you said Siri. That was an amazing moment, and I don't know if you realized what happened, but we were having a ton of fun out here, but you just kept going. So just realize that you could probably get a job of calling Siri if you wanted to. Thank you for your bravery and fun today. It's not easy. When you're giving something brand new in the world of improv, there are no mistakes, and you made none because you totally put it out there for us today. Love that you just went for it with yoga moves, whether you knew what you were talking about or not. You used that body and was extending it and making fun of a lot of terminology, things that we probably know, but you just went off in your own direction, which was wonderful. You can tell you're very comfortable on stage and with your body, so it's a pleasure to watch you, and you're very, very funny. So thank you for taking a risk and entertaining us today, and congratulations on making it to All-State. All right, Madison. First of all, I have to say my mom's a cosmetologist, and I also have a cosmetologist license, but that's okay. No, just kidding. This was very fun. Oh, and a very brave piece, I want to say, because it's a piece that has a character that is very self-absorbed and mean, but you entertained us, and you obviously nailed it out of the park because we all reacted how we should react with the piece. We laughed, and at times we went, I can't believe she just said that. So that means you did your job and that you're an amazing actress because you took us to those individuals. You made them very clear. You made bold choices, not only with your body, with your voice, with your accents. Amazing lungs, girl, what you're able to use with your breast support. Amazing skill there and talent. But you did your job because we reacted as how we were supposed to. Good job on keeping them separate. Would have loved to have seen, the only thing, you kept making reference to Michelle Pfeiffer and Catwoman. I love this, being your main character, of using your body and making choices so that we always knew when you went back to your central character. But I would have loved a Michelle Pfeiffer, I don't know, like, meow, or something. From the movie. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, because I love Michelle Pfeiffer and Catwoman myself. But I just want to say thank you for making us uncomfortable. Thank you for taking a brave choice like that. But you crushed it, because you made us feel exactly like you wanted us to throughout that piece. So congratulations on making it to all stage. All right, Levi, another fantastic improv. The thing I love about improv is that you're given options, and instantly in our own minds we start thinking of what would we do if we were given those right now, and what would we do on stage. And you did everything I didn't think I would have done. I was just like, oh, that's so cool. That was a great choice. That was a great choice. So amazing character backstories with the options that you were given, with a disco and loan collector and at a wedding. Great surprises with your material. I love your energy and fun characters. So you took great risks with that, and keeping us very much engaged, even though your wedding audience was falling asleep. So that was a ton of fun. Great opposites. Love that you have the really quiet monotone, no one likes me, to the mom who like never stopped moving. So thank you for giving me those opposites and something fun to play off with creating those stories and keeping everything very upbeat, energetic, humorous, amazing talent today. Thank you so much. Congratulations on making it to all state. So apparently we're getting all the true stories about the wolves today, and every story that we grew up with today. Catherine, wonderful job. Thank you so much. You instantly showed us that you were the wolf, because I don't know if you realized, well, probably you did, because you're wonderful, that you just showed us the power of your voice and your breath the minute you started speaking. So instantly I was taken to, she is the wolf, because she is showing us that breath capacity and what she's able to do with her voice. So you instantly took me there, which was wonderful. And you took me on an adventure. I didn't know if I should trust you or not, which is exactly what the piece is about. Am I supposed to believe what you're telling me or not? Was she framed? Is this the truth? You totally had me till the end of what in the world is going on. To add to that, I would love to even see you go further with those sniffles and the sneezing, because I think you have that in there to take that even to the next level of what we would consider if someone had a cold, and maybe that diminishes because you are telling us a fallacy. But would love to see you to dig further in that, but you totally had me sucked in from the beginning. Wonderful voices, separating each pig, giving them their own personality. Love seeing that. Wonderful energy and a ton of fun today. So thank you so much. Congratulations.
State performed the exact same story.
Really? Oh my gosh. You're like, enough with the wolves. Okay, well, wonderful job today. And Logan! Oh, look at this red face. Are you hot? Are you okay?
No, I'm just...
You're not nervous, are you? You just put on one heck of a performance, sir. Of course, producers, the movie celebrating a huge anniversary this year. So fun to hear this material. Wonderful transformation from this little guy who hates his life, an accountant, to a man that's just coming out of his shell, wanting to pursue his dreams. Because in a way, that's kind of what we're doing here today, right? Is pursuing a passion and a dream that we have. Great use of space, using the audience, even me, I loved it. With all of your movement, wonderful breath support. All those notes were right on pitch and consistent all the way through, and I appreciate that as a singer very much. Tiny thing, and I'm nitpicking because I can at this level, because you guys are all brilliant. When you're typing at the beginning, I want to see you physically doing something as opposed to this. So act like you're physically, whether it's calculations, whether you're typing something, instead of just doing this, I want to see you physically keep that completely in your body, because you're so much in everything else you're doing, from on the chair to the ground. Make sure that's going even through your fingertips at the very beginning to make it that much more believable, okay? Congratulations, amazing performance today. Another big round of applause!
In the following fierce and fiercely funny address, Luvi Ajaya teaches us the importance of speaking truth to power. In today's world, this message is more important than ever. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable by Luvi Ajayi. I'm a professional troublemaker, as my job is to critique the world, the shoddy systems, and the people who refuse to do better, as a writer, as a speaker, as a woman. I feel like my purpose is to be this cat. I am the person looking at other people like, I need you to fix it. That is me. I want us to leave this world better than we found it. And how I choose to affect change is by speaking up, by being the first, and by being the domino. For a line of dominoes to fall, one has to fall first, leaving the others choiceless to do the same. And the first domino that falls, we're hoping that, okay, the next person that sees this is inspired to be a domino. Being the domino for me looks like standing up for things that are really important. Now, a lot of times people think that we're fearless. The people that do this, we're fearless. We're not fearless. We're not unafraid of the consequences or the sacrifices that we have to make by speaking truth to power. What happens is we feel like we have to, because there are too few people in the world willing to be the domino, too few people willing to take that fall. We're not doing it without fear. Now let's talk about fear. I knew exactly what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. Dr. Louvie was the dream. I was Doc McStuffins before it was a thing. And then I started blogging. That was 2003. And what was once a cute hobby became my full-time career when I lost my marketing job in 2010. It took me 2 more years to say, I'm a writer. 9 years after I had started writing, before I could say, I'm a writer, because I was afraid of what happens without 401ks, without how am I going to keep up my shoe habit? That's important to me. So it took me this long to realize what my purpose was, and then I realized fear has a very concrete power in keeping us from doing and saying the things that are our purposes. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let fear rule my life. I'm not going to let fear dictate what I do. And then all of these awesome things started happening. Okay, 2015, I turned 30. It's gonna be my year of do it anyways. Anything that scares me, I'm going to actively pursue it. So I'm a Capricorn. I like my feet solidly on the ground. But the very anti-me thing that I did that year that scared the crap out of me, I went skydiving. We're about to fall out of the plane, and I'm like, I've done some stupid things in life. This is one of them. And then we come falling out of the plane, and I literally lose my breath as I see Earth. And I was like, I just fell out of a perfectly good plane on purpose. What is wrong with me? But as I looked down at the beauty, I was like, this is the best thing I could have done. This was an amazing decision. And I think about the times when I have to speak truth. It feels like I'm falling out of that plane. It's like that moment when I'm at the edge and I'm like, you shouldn't do this. But then I do it anyway, because I realize I have to. Speaking truth is so important, and it's like when I'm at the edge of the plane, it's comfort to me. But I realized comfort is overrated, because being quiet is being comfortable. Keeping the things the way that they've been is comfortable, and all comfort has done is help to maintain the status quo. So we've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable by speaking these hard truths when they're necessary. And I realized that this is so important to me. My integrity is something I hold dear. Justice. I don't think justice should be an option. We should always have justice. Also, I believe in shea butter as a core value, and I think the world would be a much better place if we were all more moisturized. But besides that, with these as my core values, I have to speak the truth. I have no other choice in the matter. I felt like the domino the time I read a disturbing memoir by a public figure and wrote a piece about it. I knew that this person was more powerful than me and could impact my career, but I was like, you know what? I've got to sit at the edge of this plane, maybe for 2 hours. And I did. I pressed publish, and then I ran away. I came back to a viral post, and people being like, Oh my God, I'm so glad somebody finally said this. It started a conversation about mental health and self-care. And I was like, you know what? This thing that I'm doing, it's doing something. So many people have been the domino when they've spoken up about being assaulted by powerful men. It's made millions of women join in and say, me too. People and systems count on our silence to keep us exactly where we are. Now being the domino can come down to being exactly who you are. When it's time to say these hard things, I ask myself 3 things. 1, did you mean it? 2, can you defend it? 3, did you say it with love? If the answer is yes to all 3, I say it and let the chips fall. That's important to me. That checkpoint always tells me, yes, you are supposed to do this. Telling truths, telling thoughtful truths, should not be a revolutionary act. Speaking truths to power should not be sacrificial, but they are. And I feel if more of us chose to do this for the greater good, we'd be in better places than we are right now. Speaking of the greater good, I think we commit ourselves to telling truths to build bridges to common ground, and bridges that aren't based on truth will collapse. So it is our job, it is our obligation, it is our duty to speak truth to power, not just when it's difficult, especially when it's difficult. Thank you.
We are stuck. In America's political climate today, we've found ourselves gridlocked on multiple occasions when important things like lives and the education of our children are at stake. If any of you watched the 2016 presidential debates, you might have noticed that there was little middle ground that both candidates could agree on. Every issue, the candidates took completely opposite stances, but in doing so, they defeated any kind of chance of compromise. And so today, when we consider the question, should the Democratic Party turn to the left in its quest to regain support from the American public, I would contend that the answer is no, for 3 reasons. First, this is a result of increased polarization, and if they want to regain support from the American people, increased polarization will not do the trick. Second, we've seen that increasing polarization is incredibly unsuccessful when it comes to elections. And third, we see that centrists and people more willing to make compromise are going to get things done, and this is more appealing for the American public. The first reason why the Democratic Party should not turn to the very far left in its quest to regain support is because it contributes to the excessive polarization in today's political climate. For example, if you turn on Rachel Maddow and you see that she's talking about gun rights, you might see that she takes a very twist to make it into a problem with lives and safety. Whereas if you turn on Sean Hannity, you might find a completely opposite story that's simply about the rights of people to own guns. What you see here is that there's no analysis being made for any kind of compromise, and this is incredibly problematic because we cannot reach solutions if we are only looking at one side of an issue. So I would contend that the Democrats need to move towards the center if they wish to regain support from the American public in order to lessen the polarization that plagues our society today. Second, I would contend that the Democrats must move toward the center because this increasing polarization is unsuccessful. If you took a look at the 2016 election, you might have noticed that Hillary Clinton moved toward the left in part because of her opponent in the Democratic primary, Bernie Sanders. What this did, unfortunately for her, is it caused a dilemma where she had been fighting for these issues to match Bernie, but now she has to face Trump in the general election, who has much different stances than she does. And this is incredibly problematic because she set herself up to fail. By going too far left, she did not appeal to the American public, and Trump was able to beat her because of that narrative. So I would contend that the Democrats must move towards the center if they wish to be successful in the next election, simply because of what we've seen in the past. You might have noticed that Donald Trump's claim to keep Social Security was incredibly popular among voters, and that was because it was a move towards the center rather than the very far right. So I would contend that first, its polarization is increased, and second, people who don't move towards the center are unsuccessful. But third, what we see is that the American public wants people to go and to be into office that will create actual change in our country. What we see, even in the case of Donald Trump, is that he's unwilling to move on issues that otherwise need to be moved on. And what we see is that people want someone in the office of the president and in our Congress that will fight but will also make compromise to achieve real change in our nation. When we look at issues like the gun rights issue, we see more and more children and more people are dying because of these massacres. It seems every day. But we are unwilling to make a compromise, and this is causing the detriment of our citizens. And this is incredibly problematic. So I would contend that looking towards the 2020 election, the Democratic Party needs to move towards the center in order to appeal to the American public. One, because it would cause decreased polarization. Two, because Democrats have been unsuccessful in moving towards too progressive. And three, centrists are more successful at getting things done. Thank you.
What is the secret to a happy life? Amy Morin explains this simple yet complex answer in her TED Talk, The Secret to Becoming Mentally Strong. So I have a Facebook friend whose life seems perfect. She lives in a gorgeous house and has a really rewarding career. Her and her family go on all these exciting adventures together every weekend, and I swear they must take a professional photographer with them because no matter where they're going or what they're doing, the entire family just looks so beautiful. She's always posting about how blessed she is and how thankful she is for the life that she has, and I get the sense that she's not just saying those things for the sake of Facebook, but that she really means it. How many of you have a friend who's kind of like that? And how many of you kind of don't like that person sometimes? I mean, honestly, we all do it, and it can't be that bad if it's something that we all do. But that way of thinking can cost us something. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today, what our bad habits can cost us. There are three kinds of destructive beliefs that can really deteriorate your mental toughness. The first one being unhealthy beliefs about ourselves. We tend to think, this shouldn't have to happen to me. I shouldn't have to go through this. When you host that pity party for yourself and you magnify your misfortune, that's when it starts to become the problem. The second kind of destructive belief is unhealthy beliefs about others. We tend to think that other people are either above or below us, and we constantly compare ourselves to those other people. And it's even in the little things too. When you make that offhand comment like, "My mother-in-law drives me crazy," that's giving away your power to her. You're letting her completely control how your day goes, how you feel, and everything that goes along with it. And the third kind of destructive belief is unhealthy beliefs about the world. Because deep down, we all want the world to be fair, and it simply doesn't work like that. The sooner you come to that realization, the sooner you can accept that you can change your world. And you will need to, because there's going to come a time in your life where you're going to need all of the mental toughness and all of the mental strength that you can possibly muster. When I was 23, I was fresh out of grad school. I just landed my first big-time job as a therapist. I got married, and I even bought a house. I thought I had this incredible jump start on success and I was on top of the world. And then one day I got a kind of unexpected phone call from my sister. She told me that my mother had fallen and she was being rushed to the hospital. So my husband Lincoln and I rushed there as fast as we possibly could as well. And we sat in that emergency room waiting room and we sat there. And we waited and we waited until finally a doctor came out to see us. He took us back into a room to see my mother, and within 24 hours, my mother, who used to wake up in the morning saying, "It's a great day to be alive," passed away. We didn't know it at the time, but she'd had a stroke. She was only 51 and didn't have any kind of history of a health problem. So now, as a therapist, I knew how to get through grief on an intellectual level, but knowing it and doing it are two entirely different things. And it took a really long time before I truly felt like I was healing. And then on the 3-year anniversary of my mother's death, some friends called Lincoln and I up and wanted to go out to a show, coincidentally at the last theater where I'd last seen my mother. I was really hesitant on going, but we decided to go, and I actually had a great time out with my friends until we got home that night. And Lincoln told me that he didn't feel well. Within an hour, he'd collapsed and I'd had to call for an ambulance, and his family met me at the hospital. And I found myself 3 years later sitting in the same emergency room waiting room, except this time I kept waiting and I kept waiting. And then that same doctor came out to see me, but instead of taking me into a room to see Lincoln, took me back into a private room and explained to me that Lincoln, the love of my life, was gone. We didn't know it then, but he'd had a heart attack, and he was only 26 and didn't have any kind of history of any kind of heart problem. And now I found myself a 26-year-old widow, and I had to get through all of this without my mom. And to describe that as a painful point in my life feels like an understatement. And it was in that time that I realized good mental habits aren't enough to get you through the tough times. It's that one little bad habit that's really the one that's holding you back. Through my journey, the secret to a happy life is to simply get rid of every bad mental habit that you carry with you. But you might ask yourself how you do it. These are little things that you've been doing since you were a toddler. How can you just stop? But it's finding those 3 destructive beliefs that I talked about earlier, unveiling where they come from, and knowing how you can get rid of them. Unhealthy beliefs about yourself come about because you are uncomfortable with your own feelings. You start to feel sad or angry or frustrated, and those are all very uncomfortable feelings. And people often go to great lengths to avoid that discomfort, and that's where you see those pity party happenings. Unhealthy beliefs about others come about because, like I said, as humans, we are constantly comparing ourselves to other people, thinking they're either above or below us. We look at other people and think that we can control how they feel, but we also think that they can control how we feel, which simply is not true. Unhealthy beliefs about the world come about because we really do want the world to be fair. We think if we put in enough hard work, we'll get some sort of reward, or if we'll tough it out through the bad times, we'll get something good in return. And it simply doesn't work like that. To change your world, you have to accept that you can change it. So the question I ask all of you here today is, what can you do to change those bad mental habits today, right here, right now?
September 11th, 2001. It is a day that will forever echo in American history. Even though I was too young to personally remember 9/11, I know that it had an immense impact on our country and our world. Furthermore, I know that rather than focusing on the tragedy and chaos of that day, President Obama's memorial speech highlights the resounding strength, unity, and selflessness of Americans in such a troubling time. This is the 9/11 Pentagon Memorial Speech by Barack Obama. Secretary Gates, Admiral Mullen, and members of the armed forces, fellow Americans, family and friends of those we lost this day, Michelle and I are deeply humbled to be with you. 8 Septembers have come and gone. Nearly 3,000 days have passed, almost one for each of those taken from us. But no turning of the seasons can diminish the pain and loss of that day. No passage of time and no dark skies can ever dull the meaning of this moment. So on this solemn day, at this sacred hour, once more we pause. Once more we pray. As a nation and as a people. In city streets where our 2 towers were turned to ashes and dust. In a quiet field where a plane fell from the sky. And here, where a single stone of this building is still blackened by the fires. We remember with reverence the lives we lost. We read their names. We press their photos to our hearts. And on this day that marks their death, we recall the beauty and the meaning of their lives. Men and women and children of every color and every creed, from across our nation and from more than 100 others. They were innocent. Harming no one, they went about their daily lives. Gone in a horrible instant. They now dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We honor all those who gave their lives so that others might live, and the survivors who battled burns and wounds and helped each other rebuild their lives. Men and women who gave their lives to that most simple of rules. I am my brother's keeper, and I am my sister's keeper. We pay tribute to the service of a new generation, young Americans raised in a time of peace and plenty, who saw their nation in its hour of need and said, I choose to serve. I will do my part. And once more we grieve. For you and your families, no words can ease the aching in your hearts. No deeds can fill the empty places in your homes. But on this day and all that follow, you may find solace in the memory of those you loved and know that you have the unending support of the American people. Scripture teaches us a hard truth. The mountains may fall and the earth may give way. The heart and the flesh may fail. But after all our suffering, God in grace will restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. So it is. So it has been for these families. So it must be for our nation. Let us renew our resolve against those who perpetrated this barbaric act and who plot against us still. In defense of our nation, we will never waver. In pursuit of Al-Qaeda and its extremist allies, we will never falter. Let us renew our commitment to all those who serve in our defense, our courageous men and women in uniform and their families, and all those who protect us here at home, mindful that the work of protecting America is never finished. We will do everything in our power to keep America safe. Let us renew the true spirit of that day. Not the human capacity for evil, but the human capacity for good. Not the desire to destroy, but the impulse to save and to serve and to build. On this first National Day of Service and Remembrance, we can summon once more upon that ordinary goodness of America to serve our communities, to strengthen our country, to better our world. Most of all, on a day when others sought to sap our confidence, let us renew our common purpose. Let us remember how we came together as one nation, as one people, as Americans, united not only in our grief, but in our resolve to stand with one another, to stand up for the country we all love. This may be the greatest lesson of this day, the strongest rebuke to those who attacked us, the highest tribute to those taken from us. That such sense of purpose need not be a fleeting moment. It can be a lasting virtue. For through their own lives and through you, the loved ones that they left behind, the men and women that lost their lives 8 years ago today leave a legacy that still shines brightly in the darkness and that calls on all of us to remain strong and firm and united. That is our calling today and in all the Septembers still to come. May God bless you and comfort you, and may God bless the United States of America.
In a TED Talk delivered in December of 2013, Mason Zayed speaks to a group of women about their potential to do whatever their heart desires regardless of the obstacles in their way. Her largest obstacle being cerebral palsy, which she deals with through comedy. Mason Zayed, I got 99 problems and palsy is just one. My name is Mason Zayed, and I'm not drunk, but the doctor who delivered me was. He cut my mom 6 different times in 6 different directions, suffocating poor little me in the process. As a result, I have cerebral palsy, which means I shake all the time. CP isn't genetic. It's not a birth defect. You can't catch it. No one put a curse on my mother's uterus. And I didn't get it because my parents are first cousins, which they are. It only happens from accidents, like the one that happened to me on my birthday. Now, I must warn you, I'm not inspirational. And I don't want anyone in this room to feel bad for me, because at some point in your life, you have dreamt of being disabled. Come on a journey with me. It's Christmas Eve, you're at the mall, you're driving around looking for parking, and what do you see? 16 empty handicap spaces. And you're like, God, can't I just be a little disabled? Also, I gotta tell you, I got 99 problems, and palsy is just one. If there was an oppression Olympics, I would win the gold medal. I'm Palestinian, Muslim, I'm female, I'm disabled, and I'm from New Jersey. If you don't feel better about yourself, maybe you should. Cliffside Park, New Jersey is my hometown. I've always loved the fact that my hood and my affliction share the same initials. I also love the fact that if I wanted to walk from my house to New York City, I could. A lot of people with CP don't walk, but my parents didn't believe in can't. My father's mantra was, you can do it, yes you can. So, if my 3 older sisters were mopping, I was mopping. If my 3 older sisters went to public school, my parents would sue the school system and guarantee that I went too. And if we didn't all get A's, we all got my mother's slipper. My father taught me how to walk when I was 5 years old by placing my heels on his feet and just walking. Another tactic that he would use is that he would dangle a dollar bill in front of me and have me chase it. My inner stripper was very strong. Growing up, there were 6 Arabs in my town, and they were all my family. Now, there are 20 Arabs in town, and they are still all my family. I don't think anyone even noticed we weren't Italian. My parents couldn't afford physical therapy, so they sent me to dancing school. I learned how to dance in heels, which means I can walk in heels. And I'm from New Jersey, and we are really concerned with being chic. So, if my friends wore heels, so did I. And when my friends spent their summer vacations on the Jersey Shore, I did not. I spent my summers in a war zone because my parents were afraid that if we didn't go back to Palestine every single summer, we'd grow up to be Madonna. Summer vacations often consisted of my father trying to heal me. So I drank deer's milk, I had hot cups on my back, I was dunked in the Dead Sea, and I remember the water burning my eyes and thinking, it's working! It's working! But one miracle cure we did find was yoga. I have to tell you, it's very boring. But before I did yoga, I was a stand-up comedian who can't stand up. And now I can stand on my head. My parents reinforced this notion that I could do anything, that no dream was impossible, and my dream was to be on a daytime soap opera, General Hospital. I went to school during affirmative action and got a sweet scholarship to ASU, Arizona State University, because I fit every single quota. I was like the pet lemur of the theater department. Everybody loved me. I did all the less intelligent kids' homework. I got A's in all of my classes and A's in all of their classes. Every time I did a scene from the Glass Menagerie, my professors would weep, but I never got cast. Finally, my senior year, ASU did a show called They Dance Real Slow in Jackson. It's about a girl with CP. I was a girl with CP, so I started shouting from the rooftops, I'm finally going to get a part! I have cerebral palsy! Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! I'm free at last! I didn't get the part. Sherry Brown got the part. So I went racing to the head of the theater department, crying hysterically like someone shot my cat, to ask her why. And she said it was because they didn't think I could do the stunts. And I'm like, excuse me, if I can't do the stunts, neither can the character. This was a part that I was literally born to play, and they gave it to a non-palsy actress. College was imitating life. Hollywood has a sordid history of casting able-bodied actors to play disabled on screen. Upon graduating, I moved back home, and my first acting gig was as an extra on a daytime soap opera, and I knew that I would be promoted from diner to wacky best friend in no time. But instead, I remained a glorified piece of furniture that can only be recognized from the back of my head, and it became clear to me that casting directors didn't hire fluffy, ethnic disabled actors. They only hired perfect people. So I became a comic. I performed in clubs all over America and in Arabic in the Middle East. My big break came in 2010. I was invited to be a guest on the cable news show Countdown with Keith Olbermann. I walked in like I was going to the prom, and they shuffled me into a studio on a spinning, rolling chair. So I look at the manager and I'm like, excuse me, can I have another chair? And she looks at me and she goes, 5, 4, 3, 2, and we were live, right? So I had to grip onto the anchor's desk so it wouldn't roll off the screen during the segment. And when the interview was over, I was livid. I had finally gotten my chance and I blew it. And I knew that I would never be invited back. But not only did Mr. Olbermann invite me back, he made me a full-time contributor. And he taped down my chair. My cricket journey has taken me to some very spectacular places in life. But the one moment that stands out the most was, before this moment, was when I got to perform for the man who flies like a butterfly and stings like a bee, has Parkinson's and shakes just like me, Muhammad Ali. It was the only time that my father ever got to see me perform live, and I dedicate this talk to his memory. Allah Yahamek Yaba, God bless Yaba. My name is Maysoon Zayed, and if I can, you can. Thank you.
Malala Yousafzai, a young girl from Pakistan, gives this speech at the first ever youth takeover of the United Nations in 2013. Her speech talks about the importance of education and inspires everyone to take action for education of every child all over the world. In the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful, respected elders, and my dear brothers and sisters. Today, it is an honor for me to be speaking to you again after a long time. Being here with such honorable people is a great moment in my life. I don't know where to begin my speech. I don't know what people would be expecting me to say. But first of all, thank you to God for whom we are all equal, and thank you to every person who has prayed for a new life and a fast recovery. I cannot believe how much love people have shown me. I've received thousands of good wish cards and gifts from all over the world. Thank you to all of them. Thank you to the children whose innocent words encouraged me. Thank you to my elders whose prayers have strengthened me.
There are hundreds of human rights activists here today who are not only speaking for human rights, but who are struggling to achieve their goals of education, peace, and equality. Thousands have been killed by the terrorists, and millions have been injured. And I am just one of them. So here I stand, one girl among many. I speak not for myself, but for all girls and boys. I raise my voice, not so that I can shout, but so that those without a voice can be heard. Those who have fought for their rights, the right to live in peace, their right to be treated with dignity, the right to equality of opportunity, the right to be educated. Dear friends, on the 9th of October, 2012, the Taliban shot me on the left side of my forehead. They shot my friends, too. They thought that the bullets would silence us, but they failed. And then out of that silence came thousands of voices. They thought that they could stop our ambitions and change our aims, but nothing in my life has changed except this. Weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage was born. I am the same, Malala. My hopes are the same. My ambitions are the same. My dreams are the same. Dear brothers and sisters, I am not against anyone. Neither am I here to speak in personal terms of revenge against anyone. I'm here to speak for the education of every child. I want education for all the sons and daughters of the extremists, especially the Taliban. I do not even hate the Talib who shot me. If there is a gun in my hand and he stands before me, I would not shoot him. This is the compassion that I've learned from Muhammad, the prophet of mercy, Jesus Christ, and Lord Buddha. This is the legacy of change that I've inherited from Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah. And this is the prophecy of nonviolence that I have learned from Gandhi Ji, Bacha Khan, and Mother Teresa. And this is the forgiveness that I have learned from my mother and father. This is what my soul is telling me. Be peaceful and love everyone. Dear brothers and sisters, we realize the importance of light when we see darkness. We realize the importance of our voice when we are silenced. In that same way, when we were in Swat, the north of Pakistan, we realized the importance of books and pens when we saw the guns. In many parts of the world, especially Pakistan and Afghanistan, terrorism, wars, and conflicts stop children from going to their schools. We are really tired of these wars. Women and children are suffering in many parts of the world in many ways. In India, children are victims of child labor. Many schools have been destroyed in Nigeria. People in Afghanistan have been affected by the hurdles of extremism for decades. Poverty, ignorance, injustice, racism, and the deprivation of basic rights are problems faced by both men and women. Dear brothers and sisters, now is the time to speak up. So we call upon all world leaders to change their strategic policies in favor of peace and prosperity. We call upon all world leaders that all peace deals must protect women and children's rights. A deal that goes against a woman's dignity is unacceptable. We call upon all governments to ensure free compulsory education for every child all over the world. We call upon our sisters to be brave, to embrace the strength within and realize their full potential. Dear brothers and sisters, we want education for every child's bright future. And we will bring change through our voice. No one can stop us. We must realize the importance and the power of our voice. Our words can change the world. So let us wage a global struggle against illiteracy, poverty, and terrorism. And let us pick up our books and pens, for they are our most powerful weapons. One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. Education is the only solution. Education first.
All right, well, congratulations to the 6 of you who spoke today. It was really a terrific section. I've been doing this for a number of years now, and there are some sections that are amazing, and there are some sections that are just okay, and then a lot of sections are a balance, right? It's like, oh, there's a few good people, and there's a few okay people, and that's certainly fine. But I can honestly say that I loved all 6 of you, and if I were, and I'm a college coach, I would not hesitate, and I was hesitating to say this at first, but I can be honest about it. I would not hesitate to give any of you a scholarship to my college for speech, and I would not say that all day. So yeah, give them a hand. And I'll tell you why. My name is Dino Pape, and I teach at Simpson College in the Department of Multimedia Communication, and I'm the Assistant Director of the Speech and Debate Program. And I've been involved in this activity for many, many years. And a lot of speech and debate activity is direct head-on competition, where you're ranked against each other. And so if this were a traditional round, I would have to rank somebody first, and I would have to give somebody a 6, right? And so that's where my universe is most of the time. When it comes to festival style, it just means that sometimes there's variation in terms of quality. The reason that I got so excited though here at the end, and the reason that I went ahead and announced it anyway, is because I can always tell when I'm on the brink of seeing great students doing great work is, in my brain, I'm already starting to coach you. And so coaches, have you ever had this happen? Where you're like, oh wait, hold that, hold that moment. And when I start doing that mentally, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I have to judge. Okay, I got to write down a few more comments. And so every single student up here has something that I wanted to work with them on. And so I really wish that I could have just stopped the round and gone, wait, let's work on this part, and then have you keep going. But of course that would be inappropriate. But it's great when I get that feeling that each student has a particular talent. Each of you has a different kind of talent, and I got really excited about it. And so that's why I made that announcement. So I'm very genuine about that. I wrote my email address on each of these sheets in the hopes that you'll contact me and see if that's a possibility. Because I would love to coach any of you. So let's start with Paige. Very smooth and polished presentation, probably the most polished I've seen all day. Excellent diction, pacing, control, very expressive gestures and facial expression. It's an inspirational message that connects to a Me Too movement, but there's nice moments of humor. You played those well. And I love the message of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think that works in today's society in particular. And what I really liked about it is that it was motivational without being preachy. It'd be really easy for you to stretch into the preachy realm and overdo it, and you didn't. You held back just enough, but you still enjoyed the experience and let us all be motivated by it. There were just a couple of moments where I would have loved to have had you just paused for dramatic effect just a little bit more and then pull out of that, but that was one thing that went through my brain is just that. But overall, really well polished, delivered, excellent presentation. You did a very nice job. Congratulations. Good job. What I love is when somebody comes up and says, oh, and I'm a freshman. I'm like, really? Your coach must be very excited to work with you for the next 3 years. Okay, Colin, our one spontaneous in the room who actually came, so I appreciate that. What I liked about what you did is that you made it very personal in the end, in the third point, which is rare for this type of an event, especially because you strike me as more of an extempore than a spontaneous speaker. And extemporaneous speaking, for those of you who are not familiar with that, at the college level, and actually at the high school level too, is current event speaking. And so there you do research, though. You have to do research on your laptop or on paper files. Usually it's laptops. And then you cite the evidence as you go. And I see you as a natural extemper. But you had such a nice, calm presence about you. I like the little narrative bit at the end and the third point. I think your first 2 points kind of blended together a little bit. But you were very well structured. It was easy to follow you. But I like your style. It's a really easygoing. I like that third point, how you conveyed that narrative. That personal third point was really nice to hear. But I like how calm you are in the face of a very tense event. So I think you would do well in college, impromptu or extemp. But I really find it easy to listen to you, and the style is really comfortable. So congratulations and nice job. That's a tough event. There you go. And I don't always give a suggestion, by the way, for improvement, but I'm doing it because I think they can all handle it, by the way, because they're all really good, and I think they can be just a notch better. So that's why I'm taking the time to do that. Let's talk about Holly. Okay, Holly. Marvelous voice. Wow, that's an incredible voice you've got there. And you carry yourself with amazing authority. It really is like you're a young TED speaker. I can totally buy you being on the stage. And I've been to some TEDx events before, and you would kick butt in that environment. So that's terrific. My suggestion for you is when you did the kept waiting sequence, I just wanted you to hold it and then build up a little bit more, because it's such a dramatic reveal and we lose the reveal a little bit. So if you could just hold that moment a bit before you do that and then build up to sort of losing it just a touch right after that, it would be that would be a beautiful moment. I just wanted a little bit more time with that moment. But overall, very sharp speaker. You did a very nice job. Congratulations. I love it when high school students can be better TED speakers than TED speakers. You know what I mean? That's just awesome. Xavier, how's it going? You know, this was really nice. I saw the speech that Barack Obama gave live, and it's the speech that the nation needed to hear at that time. And so I thought it was terrific. You did not try to mimic the vocal patterns. You just made it your own. I love the vocal tone. It's very appropriate to the occasion, to the anniversary. I would call it respectful, almost somber, but just on this side of somber. It didn't make me feel as much sadness as it was just a reflection. I don't know, maybe parents in the room remember well the actual day of 9/11. I had to teach college students that day. I had to go into a public speaking class of all days and talk to the students about public speaking when this remarkable event happened. And so it brought back memories of that, thinking about not only the anniversary of 9/11, but also in the memorial. How many of you have been to see the 9/11 memorial? Have you seen this in New York? Isn't it powerful? I think it's a really powerful memorial, and so I was also brought back to New York and thinking about that moment. But also, as you were speaking, I was back in my classroom again, facing a group of students who didn't know what to do with what just happened. Nobody knew what to do with what just happened. So it was very compelling, almost brought tears to my eyes because I was reflecting on that. Respectful, but also compelling. Beautiful pacing. The use of pause was terrific, and you had some nice hope in the end also. So I know I've been giving suggestions for everybody. I really liked what you did. You know, just a little bit more variation within some of the speaking patterns. There were just a couple times when it flattened out a little bit, and I might have coached you to do just a little bit more within that. But that's really nitpicky compared to what the success was. It was really well done. Congratulations. There's no crying in speech. There's no, that's a lie. It's just people cry all the time. Okay, Cheyenne, all right. Wow, did you bring energy to the room? Holy smokes, I'm like, whoa. So I love that. It was just a touch quick. I just kept wanting to go, oh, just slow down just a little bit. But I loved what you did with this. There was a competitor, and we're still Facebook friends, and I still keep in contact with her, even though it was many years ago. But there was a competitor in college forensics who had cerebral palsy, and I remember her doing an after-dinner speech, and I was one of the judges for this final round of after-dinner speaking when she was really using her humor to her advantage. And she's like, quit looking at me me like that. I'm okay. You know, it's like, I have to walk funny, but it'll be all right. She used humor to give us access to be able to laugh with her instead of at her. And I loved thinking about this as you were going. And you didn't try to do any of that, which I'm grateful for. You didn't pretend like you had CP or have elements of CP or anything like that. You didn't make it an interp event where you tried to pop into it. And I appreciated that. It just let us think about the message and the hope for folks like her who have cerebral palsy and who find great opportunities in this activity anyway and in life. So I really appreciated it. There were a couple of laugh lines you dropped just a little bit, so hold on to those confidently right through the end, because we were laughing with you certainly throughout, and I wanted to laugh every time. Great voice, great energy, great presence. You did great. Absolutely fantastic. Good job. All right, and then Emily. Wow, isn't that a beautifully written public address? Isn't that speech amazing? I have not heard her give this speech, actually, which I was kind of surprised by. The more I thought about it, I know I've seen her on media clips, but I've never actually seen the whole speech. So it was really interesting, in contrast to the Obama speech, for example, having seen it, to not have seen this. And so I thought it was beautifully written, and there were times when I just found myself enjoying just your retelling of it. It's so compelling, and it's not flashy. You don't do a lot of flashy stuff with it. Instead, you just keep it really simple, but at the same time, it's a very compelling retelling. It's well paused, well thought out, nice vocal inflection patterns. The only critique that I really had for you is I think you can milk pauses even longer than you do. Some of them are beautiful, but I'm like, oh, just a touch more, please. Just a touch more. I want to cry with you, you know? And then I'm like, there's no crying in speech. Stop it. Like, how many of you are trying to make me cry today? That's ridiculous. And then just hold your eye contact just a touch longer. You do a little bit more of a scan, and boy, if you just hold that moment and hold her line and hold eye contact with somebody, it'll be that much more powerful when you deliver it. But a beautiful retelling of that. It's such a marvelous speech. I mean, I look forward to hearing it and seeing it online, but really, really well done. Yeah, very good job. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really, really, really impressed with these 6 students here. Not only did you make it this far, but you all have remarkable talent. I hope you all take your unique individual talents, harness them, and continue to do this activity and use your voice for change. You know, we've seen, and you heard this in the introduction that Craig gave, or that others of his staff gave. And in my introduction, my big thing is using your voice and using it to send a message and to use it much like the students in Broward County. Those Broward County students in Florida, whether you agree or disagree with what they're arguing, those students are using their voices right now to try to affect political change. Even though they're young, they still have a powerful voice. And I want you all to use that voice also and know that you all have the talent and ability to be able to do it. So congratulate all 6 of our wonderful speakers again.